Hey everybody, this one's going to be kind of a weird format because the footage that's in this is pretty old. It was supposed to be part of a general parasite treatment series that I never got around to finishing. But it's probably worth releasing these as independent things because otherwise it's going to be 45 minutes of treatment that you really don't care about. So today we're going to be looking at treatment for camallanus worms particularly. There are a few other things that fall under this treatment that are worth doing, but that's the big one that people are generally looking for. So, we're going to go ahead and jump over to the old footage and come back at the end. Okay, so your fish show some signs of internal parasites. What do you do now? If it's an expensive fish, if it's a fish that you're incredibly fond of, I would strongly recommend going to a vet and having them check the feces to figure out exactly what it is. They can check it under a microscope, they can make a diagnosis and tell you what's going on with your fish. But if you've got cheap fish, or you don't have a whole lot of money, or you're just kind of stubborn like me, then you can end up just going for what you think is the most likely. If you've got something like camallanus worms, then sometimes you'll end up seeing little red hair-like things poking out of the vent of the fish. Now, unfortunately, once you see this, the infection is usually bad enough that it's pretty hard to save the fish. But sometimes you can. Capillaria are also very common internal worms. They are clear. The way that you usually detect them, as far as I know, is dissecting a dead fish and looking for a female with eggs in it, because they're clear. But the treatments for worms aren't really harmful to anything. So it's a good starting point if you think that you've got an internal parasite problem. Camallanus, capillaria, and a few other things are pretty sensitive to levamisole. Now, levamisole is something that you don't really find in aquarium shops, you don't really find at pet stores. You generally have to get it for deworming sheep. And what I have is Agrilab's Prohibit, which is levamisole hydrochloride. And this is a drench solution. It says it here, soluble drench. And these are something that are designed to be dissolved in water, and then you just feed a couple milliliters of this to your animals to worm them. The LD50 for this, the dose at which 50% of fish die, is about 240 milligrams per liter. The therapeutic dose is 2 milligrams per liter. So, as long as you do this right, the chances of you harming your fish with the therapeutic dose are very, very low. It's a treatment that there's not a good reason not to do, except for the fact that this bag is about 20 bucks. Now, this is a 52-gram bag. It has 46.8 grams of levamisole hydrochloride. The hydrochloride being on it means that it's heavier than just levamisole. So if we're looking at 2 milligrams per liter of levamisole, we're looking at 2.36 milligrams per liter of levamisole hydrochloride. Now, unless you've got a ridiculously accurate scale, you're not going to be able to measure out milligrams of powder. And it's not entirely the medication, so it's kind of a pain. So what we're going to do is we're going to dissolve this so that 1 drop of our solution gives us 2 milligrams of medication. So each drop will treat 1 liter. Now, to do that, get yourself a liter of water and get rid of 2 capfuls. Each cap on a bottle this size is between 4 and 5 milliliters, so that's going to leave you with about 990 milliliters of water in here. If we dissolve this entire packet into 990 milliliters of water, we will end up with a solution where 1 drop treats 1 liter. Now, if you've got a very large tank, you should know 1 milliliter is 20 drops. Now, you want to be careful when you're adding this to your bottle. You can just pour it straight in. You know, these are tinfoil bags, basically, so you can get a pretty good pour spout. Go slow. Do it in multiple stages. If you try to add it all at once, it's going to overflow, but if you go slowly as it dissolves, the particles get suspended in the water, so it doesn't increase the volume the same amount as the powder that you're adding. So this has the full bag in it. You can see there's still a little bit of room left at the top. Had I not removed 2 capfuls of water, there wouldn't be enough room for this. There's about 5 milliliters of space at the top of this bottle. This is a 1 liter Aquafina bottle. Obviously this is going to vary depending on the brand of water that you buy, but I haven't run into a problem where there's not enough room in any bottles that I've gotten. So seal it up, shake it around a little bit. You can see it's completely clear once dissolved. This is good for about 90 days in the fridge, which is good because you're going to need to treat at least 3 times. So what I will generally do is I will take this and I will add, again, 1 drop of this per liter of tank size. If you're in the US and your tank is measured in gallons, you can do a quick conversion on Google. Just type in, 20 gallons to liters, and Google will tell you how many liters your tank is, how many drops of solution to add. What I will generally do is I will add this and I will dose it once, and then tomorrow I will do a large water change, because if the fish have worms, what this does is it paralyzes them and allows the fish to poop them out. So you want to do a water change where you're vacuuming the bottom of the tank so that you can actually suck the worms out of the gravel, you can suck them out of your sand, you can suck them off the bottom, and you're not going to worry about them being in there. So as part of your vacuum, you really want to change somewhere between 70 and 100% of the water, and I know most people can't really accomplish that in one sitting. So you're probably going to have to do 3 or 4 different water changes throughout the course of the week, maybe 20-30% a day for about 5 days. And after 5 days from the first treatment, you're going to treat again. Again, give it 24 hours in the tank, then you're going to do this again. You want to get up to 100% water change, roughly, before you treat the 3rd time. And the 3rd treatment, you want to wait about 1 to 2 weeks, so that any eggs that are in there have had a chance to hatch, had a chance to get into fish, where the fish can then poop them out. You're going to go ahead and vacuum it again. You're going to do up to, again, 100% water change to get rid of the medication, get it out of there, get as many of these paralyzed critters out of the tank as possible. There is some debate over whether they can reinfect fish from being eaten once they've been pooped out, or whether they can only reinfect through eggs. It doesn't look like there's a full consensus on that. The support for them reinfecting from being eaten isn't great, but it's not really something that's worth risking, in my opinion. So doing a really good vacuum of your tank is a really good idea in this case. Once you're done with that, any infection from either of these worms should be mostly taken care of. So anything else that you've got is going to be something else. Now, these things are somewhat destructive to the internal organs of fish, so you're not going to be able to catch everything if this is what's happening. You may end up still having some fish die from this because of injuries internally, but you should see any symptoms that you have that look like parasite infections going down at this point if it was being caused by one of these 2 things. If it's not, then you want to work on to some of the other dewormers that treat parasites, like tapeworms or things like that are a little bit less common unless you're having symptoms that just point you in that direction first. Hopefully that's something you guys found helpful. You can search around on the internet and find formulas for how you calculate the dosage on these things, but my recommendation is, if you live in the US, just use this product. It works pretty well, it's safe, the additives that they use have never caused me any issues, and 20 bucks is more than you generally want to spend, I know, but it works and you don't have to worry about it not dissolving or anything else. So, if anybody has any recommendations for alternate products, something that's a little bit cheaper, a good way to get this, go ahead and leave it down in the comments. People, I'm sure, are going to want to know. Otherwise, everybody take it easy, and we'll see you in the next one. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. And go ahead and hit that thumbs up button.